May the 6th, 2020. This is the fourth day of our 10-day execution cycle. The first day, as in with every execution cycle, we've got to define success. Success, what I'm working on this time, is preparing a marketing strategy, a strategy that will bring a new business that I am building to the attention of my prospective customers. My prospective customers are institutions and agencies and jails. And so in day 2, I had to set some very specific goals that I would achieve in order to build this new venture. The third day was making sure that I had the right attitude, and I measure that right attitude is by saying, am I attacking these goals individually with enthusiasm, with 100% commitment to exceed? And the fourth goal in this cycle is aspiration, or the fourth task, or what I'd like to focus on the fourth is an aspiration. I've got to be able to see, what am I going to create versus what I have right now, because I've got to bridge that gap. I've got to be able to figure out, how do I create the priorities? And so when I am thinking about what is it I'm trying to achieve, I'm beginning with these thoughts of saying, okay, well, what do I have? And that led me to say, well, if I'm going to be marketing, and my potential client for this specific type of business is going to be institutions, I really have to look at, well, if they Google me, if they look for me online, what are they going to find? And Prison Professors has been around for a long time. It's gone through a lot of instantiations, a lot of iterations, because I really was in prison for 26 years and I had to kind of learn how to invent myself. But as I was studying this and thinking, okay, well, I'm going to be building a new business, I don't know that agencies are going to be interested in the same type of information that I'm providing here. So since I've already built a website that really caters to agencies, I know that they're still going to be searching for me, because that's what we do in society. We look on Google and we find out about somebody or something. And so I thought, well, if people are going to be looking for me, I don't know that I want them to see this kind of messaging. I also don't know if I want them to only look at some of my other brands that I have that works with law firms and helps people who are going into the system understand what they can do to improve their journey. I do this with my partner Justin, but I'm working on all of this branding, and I'm saying, okay, I've got to do a redesign, and that's why I've launched this new site. And I've been working on this all day since very early this morning. It's now 7:40 in the afternoon, and this is going to be the new look of the homepage for Prison Professors. And I can see that my internet is a little bit slow right now. If it wasn't, you'd see this as a movie in the background. I think it's going to start right now. So this internet's really slow right here for some reason. I guess with the pandemic, there's so many people working from home that I'm going to have to increase my bandwidth. In any event, if you scroll here, what I've designed on the front, and there's the video. What I've designed on the front are 2 buttons, okay? And one button is going to be specifically for individuals, and one button is for institutions. So I want them immediately to see that if I'm an institution and I come here, this is where I should go to get the information that I'm looking to solve my problem. And what is the problem of an institution? They're trying to teach and inspire people who all too often are living without hope. So my job is to think about that, anticipate who these prospective clients are, and then think about what can I do to demonstrate authenticity and that I can help them solve their problems. So I produce a lot of content. So if I right here subscribe to our podcast, actually I'll find out if that'll actually open, because the bandwidth is so slow right now. It will open. There it is. It'll go right to a podcast where they'll see there's more than 100 episodes, and they can read what I write. They can see what it's about. What does that do? It helps me build trust with people before I ever talk with them. And that's really important, because I'm trying to sell to a very conservative audience, law enforcement officers, and I was in prison for a long time. So I recognize I've got to overcome a lot of barriers, but I can also solve their problem. And so, if I click here, I will take you to the site that I actually built for them. I'm just going to wait for the internet to catch up. But I scroll down, and what else am I doing on this site? So I come down, and again, I have every podcast right here so that they can scroll through here, see how many there are, just learn about what we're talking about, how we help people, and how we help people understand the system and what can we do better. So there's 100 episodes here, and I just keep adding more. Every day I add a new one. Right now, I'm in the process of reading Earning Freedom. Here I put this video, which is a video of me teaching inside of both prisons and universities. I hope it helps me to bring credibility with my audience. Here is, if they click this button right here, they're going to be able to get onto a calendar with my partner, because I rarely talk to all the people that reach out to us, but they can reach out to my partner and schedule an appointment right there. Just click a date, and an appointment schedule will be available when they can talk to him. So I keep moving through the new design, which I'm still working on. And there's a picture of my partner with Dr. Phil talking about how we help people get ready for a lower sentence, how do we help them think about, okay, what are the strategies they can pursue. Here, I'm interviewing a federal judge, and the judge is really providing a series of information that will help somebody who's going inside. I think that actually takes somebody, as I recall, I had it go to an actual playlist where there's a series of videos of me interviewing judges, but maybe it just goes to this one 37-minute interview with Judge Mark Bennett. But yeah, no, it does. Let's see, there's a whole series of videos here that people can watch and see what type of attention they're getting. So all of this is designed to help me persuade a conservative audience that I can help them solve their problem. And then there's a series of blog entries here where they can find, and of course they can look at more. They can contact, there's my contact information here. So this is the homepage that I've been working on all day. I haven't made it live yet. We still have a regular homepage, but I put it up here so I could easily access it. After I do all of that, I'm going to have to go in here and rebuild all of this content. And there's a lot of content on this website because I write a lot. If you've never seen the back end of a WordPress website, you can see where it is, and you can see all of the pages of content that I have that I've been writing since I've come out of prison. So if I log on here, you'll just see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of information that I created to teach people, various aspects of the criminal justice system, and to be thinking about, well, what can they be doing? What can somebody be doing to begin preparing for a successful journey inside of there? And my goal is to help administrators find the tools that they need to teach and inspire people in there who are living in prison. And so, I've shown this before, but this goes on where I create tools that they can download, get full pricing sheet and details. If they just click here, it's already there. There's a nice brochure that they can review. The internet's just so slow. I wonder why. But I've created all of this information just with the idea of saying, hey, I'm going to help people understand how I can help them. And if you are in this same process of trying to build a new business, you got to be thinking in the same way, right? You don't think about what you want to do. You think about what your customer wants, and how can your work solve your customer's problem. That's what my aspiration is that when all of this is finished, and this is going to be finished in this month for sure, but I'll be making significant progress every day. When it's all finished, and when I start deploying capital to drive traffic here, I want to make sure that they get the messaging that I want them to have. And that is my aspiration. That's my vision. That's what I'm trying to do right now, is do a lot of the heavy lifting to build a business. When I'm speaking, I always tell people, or one of the things I always like to incorporate into a speech on a stage to just help people understand, is I use this analogy that some of you may have heard before about when is the best time to plant an oak tree. And the answer is, a lot of times when I ask the question, people in the audience, they'll just venture guesses, in the morning, in the spring, in the fall. But the answer, and I heard this from another speaker, so I don't want to take credit for it, but the answer is 20 years ago. The best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. But when you plant a seed, right, for something that you want to build, and you have to wait for years and years and years for it to develop or for it to mature, you've got to be able to visualize the best possible outcome. And if you think that just planting the seed is going to get the job done, you're really selling yourself short. Even something as simple as planting a seed, that's not the end of the work, right? You dig the hole, you put the seed in there, you cover it up, but that's not all. You've got to nurture that seed, and you nurture that seed a lot of times with fertilizer. And so I ask people, well, what is fertilizer? And I always get the inevitable answer. Fertilizer is really just a lot of times livestock manure. And we all know what manure is, right? So that seed has to grow through a lot of manure before it ends up becoming a tree that blossoms and provides the end game, what we want. That's the same situation here. I have an aspiration for building a business, but I know I've got to grow through a lot of manure. I've got to do a lot of work. I've got to achieve a lot of goals, a lot of incremental tasks, and all of those are what is going to lead to me getting one order and then turning that one order into 5 orders and then turning those 5 orders into 25 orders. And before you know it, you have a business. That's how it starts. You've got to build the infrastructure. You've got to sow the seeds. And your aspiration is what keeps me, at least me, what an aspiration is what keeps me motivated. That's what I learned while I was in prison. And I learned it from so many leaders. I remember reading a book about Bill Gates, who at the very start of Microsoft, he used to say that he envisioned a time when there would be a computer on every desk and a computer in every home. And of course, we're at a stage now where every desk has multiple computers, every home has multiple computers, and cars have computers, and watches, not this watch, but watches and phones are all computers. And all of that is because somebody had an aspiration decades ago to build what we now take for granted. And I can't imagine a world now where we would live without computers or without spreadsheets or without technology or without all of the things that have advanced progress for humanity. At least that's my perspective, is that we've advanced progress for humanity. I know that there are some people who have a different view. But that's what makes the world, is we all have different perspectives. And my perspective is if we pursue a methodical, deliberate plan, we can make progress toward becoming what we want to become. And that's what I'm doing. By recording it every day and then taking this message inside to jails and prisons, I can demonstrate I never ask anybody to do anything that I don't do. And if I'm on a 10-day execution cycle, it's always going to begin by defining success. It's going to be followed by setting the clear goals that I need to achieve. Then I'm going to move forward with the right attitude, and I'm going to have the right aspiration that'll help me get there. And tomorrow, we will cover action, which is day 5 in every execution cycle. And I hope that you're on an execution cycle of success as well. That's what I had to share today on May the 6th, 2020, day 24 since I've been recording these journals. And you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Facebook pages, Being Resilient. My name is Michael Santos, and I thank you for being a part of our community.